Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the full moon in Scorpio that happens on the 27th of April 2021 at 3:31 in the morning, and that's based on UK time. I'm in Europe at the moment, but I'm still basing this report on UK time. I'm 1 hour ahead, so for instance, if you're in Europe as well, it happens at 4:31 in the morning on the 27th of April. If you're in North or South America, it's going to be late in the evening on the 26th. If you're in Africa, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, then it happens later on in the day on the 27th of April. I always mention this, but please don't get too hung up on the timings. The moon isn't something that just, in 1 minute you get the energy. It builds itself up for pretty much half the month. It waxes, then it gets to this pinnacle point here during the full moon when it's fully lit up, and it lets go of its energy and it showers us in this creative kind of Scorpio energy during this full moon, and then it wanes down. So I really think you'll notice this energy most strongly on the 26th, 27th and 28th of April. It is a full moon in Scorpio, so that's all about emotional intensity, being able to identify things that are difficult and unhealed, kind of shining a light on them to heal those things. So this isn't going to be something that is dull. Emotionally, you're really going to experience this quite strongly. So if you find it difficult to understand what you're going through in terms of your own feelings, or to tap into your intuition, or you've experienced kind of writer's block, or you haven't been feeling particularly creative, this is a time that really blows all of that blockage or lack of connection out of the water, because it is so strong and intense. It's also at 7 degrees. 7 in numerology is the mind and creativity, and with Scorpio, first of all, you're able to navigate the dark. So you're able to look at those things in your life that are unhealed and difficult without being scared off and running the other way. So you're able to identify the problem in order to transform and heal the problem. At 7 degrees, you can do that in a creative way. So for some people, that's going to be having a certain emotion and writing a song about it, or writing about it. Other people may experience a sense of anxiety or emotional intensity that they can't quite put their finger on, and then during this period of the full moon in Scorpio, something clicks, it all makes sense, and it's like, oh, this is why I feel like this. This is the natural response to certain things that are going on in my life, and that really makes sense. So you're able to process your own feelings, you're able to therefore kind of attach some meaning to them, and that means it takes the power out of your feelings, and you're no longer controlled by them, and you're no longer influenced in a way that pushes you to do something that you don't want to do. So for instance, if you're scared, you may, I don't know, stockpile things because you're afraid you're going to run out of things. If you understand why you have the fear, it liberates you from that fear, and you're able to put it in its place, to look at it objectively and say, thank you very much for sharing feelings, that's great, but I'm not going to run around all day long because you're making me feel certain things. I have my own ideas and what I want to be doing, and my own passions. Is not just all about these things that feel unhealed that I have to kind of respond to. Okay, so the moon is all by itself there on the right hand side of the chart. You can see it there at 7 degrees in Scorpio. It looks kind of lonesome, and it's opposed by the sun in Taurus, which conjuncts Uranus, the planet of the unexpected and miraculous, and Venus, the planet of love and beauty. They're in Taurus. We've also got Mercury and Blackmoon Lilith nearby, so that's like a gang here. We've got this stellium. I always spell that because people ask when I use that word. Stellium is just 2 or more planets, 2 or 3 planets kind of lumped together. S-T-E-L-L-I-U-M, stellium. Yeah, it is 3 or more. And it means that these planets all sit together and blend their energy together, and it's a really powerful influence. They then oppose the moon, and that may make you feel a little bit like, wow, things are really intense and I'm having to deal with quite a lot. And when I was looking at this chart earlier, the message I got was that intuitively you learn from your circumstances. So whatever is going on in your life, so if you're happy in your environment or your job or you're moving or whatever is going on. I mean, that's your physical experience on planet Earth. That can be 1,000 different things. That's going to teach you something about who you are emotionally. It's going to show you some sort of emotional response that you then understand, that you can work with creatively, and it really teaches you about yourself. It frees you from being reactive, and you're able to use your own feelings to get to know yourself better. So usually it's the other way around. If you think about the Hermit card in the tarot, that's an older man with a lantern, and he goes off by himself, so the circumstances are completely neutral. He makes physical space for himself, and then he's able to kind of shine this lantern of truth onto himself, which is a very Scorpio kind of energy, and then he understands things. Then he realizes that he has this spiritual connection, or that he's very wise, or whatever it may be, right? This is the opposite. This is like you get on a train and you realize that it makes you nervous, and you realize that that nervousness is because you don't like crowds, for example. Okay, so your outside circumstances teach you something about you that you can then use to alter your circumstances in future, and it's not a big complicated process. It's an immediate reaction to something that's going on in your life, and it's important to pay attention to it, because if you learn from that experience, you're able to avoid situations like that in future if they create negative emotions, or you're able to bring more positive things into your life if you realize that, let's say you enjoy playing football like that kid over there, and that makes you feel good, then you can plan your days and include, I don't know, half an hour of football every day into your schedule, so that you get that wonderful fuzzy feeling. Okay, it's as simple as that. It's really straightforward and direct. The moon is what gives you a sense of ease and comfort. It's what makes you feel home. It's kind of what allows you to decompress and to say, oh, this is what works for me, this is what makes me feel at ease. And in Scorpio, you're not going to shy away from anything that's difficult, and what makes you feel at ease is being your own best friend, in the sense of, I want to heal things about me, I want to understand myself better so that I can be freer and that I can live the kind of life that I'm meant to live. 7 in numerology is the mind and creativity, so you'll be able to process your feelings creatively. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but for some people it will be meditation, for some people it will be something practical, for others it'll be as simple as driving or taking the dog for a walk. Anything that gives you a practical outlet to your feelings is going to help you understand. So we've got this connection between the physical world, the emotional world, and then back again to the physical world. So real life circumstances cause you to have an emotional reaction and response, which you can learn from, but there are also physical activities that you can then use to express those feelings. So once you understand them and you make sense of them, you can be creative, you can express yourself, and if you don't want to kind of capture them and record them as you know, music that you write or videos or anything like that, you can just kind of get it out of your system by behaving in certain ways. So if it relaxes you and makes you feel calm to go for a walk in nature, then do that. If you like to talk out your feelings with someone that you're close to, someone you trust, then pick up the phone and speak to that person. You're really able to complete the cycle then, make sense of the emotions and let them go. So whatever works for you, first of all, look at and try to understand yourself better and see, hey, this is what works for me and what doesn't, and then engage with that behavior to get rid of the feelings or to complete them, to work through them, to process them, so that you're no longer a kind of hostage to your own feelings, whether they are positive or negative. So with that said, you're really able to let go of things that are very difficult, you know, like obsessive behavior, where you feel like you don't have a choice, you have to do this if you want to feel safe. Or addictions, you have to continue the addiction if you want to be able to function and continue your day. You'll be able to see the faultiness in those kind of thoughts, and you'll see that it's a behavior that's based on fear and a sense of lack. That recognition will allow you to say, wow, it has no more power over me, I can change this, I can let go of it. So if you have been thinking about changing your life in a really profound way, in the way you behave, the relationship you have with substances, other people, circumstances in your life that do serve you or that don't serve you, you're able to take your power back and to say, I'm no longer a victim of my own feelings, I can do something about this, I can change. And that's usually scary, but remember, Scorpio is able to feel quite comfortable in the dark, scary places, and it doesn't put you off. So you have the emotional resilience and energy to adapt and to do things differently in future. And that's the most profound thing that we can do, because when you behave differently, you change your frequency, you change your vibration, you manifest different circumstances, and therefore you change your life. The sun is at 7 degrees in Taurus, so the sun is lighting up this moon. So creative, beautiful things. Taurus is about the practical. It rules things like money, nature, the earth, art, anything beautiful, the physical body, and it's at 7 degrees, remember, both the moon and the sun are at 7 degrees, so creativity is really highlighted here. So again, looking at things and being in an environment can teach you something about yourself emotionally. Just waiting for this dog. Okay. It can teach you something emotionally, so expose yourself to things that you like. So go look at paintings if that works for you, or listen to music that makes you jump around and dance or cry or whatever. The emotional response is really the key. That's what teaches you. And then if you flip that around, the emotional intensity allows you to create something wonderful. So if you are a painter and you haven't painted in a while because you haven't felt inspired, paint again on this day. You'll really be able to articulate something meaningful. Uranus is at 10 degrees in Taurus. Uranus is the miraculous and unexpected. 10 reduces to 1, and 1 is about taking charge of things, being the pioneer, being a magician and doing it yourself. In Taurus, you can really create something totally different. So a new piece of work that you've never been able to create, because you now have a much more profound emotional understanding, so you've got more to work with. Or circumstances that are new and that you've never come across before bring up new feelings that you're not familiar with, and those teach you something about you. So like going to visit a place that you've never been to, because I always believe that certain places have stored energy that affects us in different ways. So if you go to Barcelona, you might love it. Someone else may have a totally different response, and it's a very personal kind of process. So having that new experience opens up something new in you, and that can teach you about yourself, and that can help you flourish as an individual and help you grow. So the thing I want to highlight and kind of really emphasize and underline is that your external circumstances teach you about the self, and then that understanding can help you make a mark on the physical reality. It can help you put your stamp on what's going on, and you can tweak your circumstances, and you can make life more suitable for you. Venus is at 15 degrees in Taurus, so you really have the opportunity to create something beautiful, to change your financial circumstances, to make different choices in terms of what you do work-wise, to alter the way you treat your body or the way you appear. That's going to be really easy for you to visualize and to say, I want to make changes in this area, so I want to change my diet, or I want to exercise, or I want to start to write short stories, or I want to dye my hair. It can be really as banal and mundane, as simple as that. 1 in 5 is 6, and you really have the opportunity to take charge of the physical world and to adapt it and change it to suit your needs. Mercury is at 16 degrees, so in astrology, when two things are 10 degrees within, when they're 10 degrees when they're within 10 degrees of one another, okay, that's called an orb, a 10-degree orb, yes. Then they're said to be conjunct, but if it's past the 10-degree mark, then technically they don't count. I count it because it's kind of still in the vicinity here. So the Sun is at 7 degrees, Mercury is at 16 degrees, so that still counts because they're 9 degrees away, but Blackmoon Lilith is at 20 degrees in Taurus, so that technically doesn't influence it, but I will still look at it. So Mercury at 16 degrees in Taurus gives you the same ability to really think creatively outside of the box, and then to use your creativity to capture your ideas and your feelings in some sort of tangible format. So again, speaking to a confidant, or painting a picture, or recording an audio file, or saying, you know what, body, tell me what you want. Why do my legs hurt? Tell me what that's about. So the external circumstances inform the inside. You get a message from your body. That's, by the way, a really good thing to do if you do have things going on in terms of your physical experience, to actually have a word with your own body and to say, please tell me what this is about. You'll get a message. So for instance, if your knees hurt, it may be that you don't feel like you're making enough progress in life. I have experienced that it sounds overly simplistic, but in my experience that's the way our bodies speak to us. Sometimes through pain, inflammation, it's telling us to make certain changes. You then get that information and you can behave differently to reduce the pain or to change it, to make more progress, and then to see what happens in your physical experience. So that's an amazing opportunity to actually release certain problems in your physical body. Blackmoon Lilith at 20 degrees in Taurus. Blackmoon Lilith is the ego, and it's where your ego tries to sabotage you. So it's saying that, you know, the relationship you have with the world and your body and outside things, you can't really trust that. The ego says, don't trust your own gut and your own meaning that you gain from certain circumstances, because you may be overly sensitive and you may get the wrong end of the stick. Or just because you think it means that doesn't mean it's true. So the ego is trying to sabotage you by casting doubt over your own feelings and your own thoughts and your own conclusions that you reach. And the point of this full moon in Scorpio is that you can really trust the insights that you gain about yourself, and that's really the whole gift of this full moon, that it's these insights that you can use to transform your physical experience and your emotional experience, to take charge of what you're feeling and what you're doing and engaging with. The ego doesn't want you to make progress, it doesn't want you to become enlightened, so of course it's going to cast doubt on that. So doubt is normal, don't feed into it, don't get hooked by it, and just say, thank you for sharing, but I trust my gut more than I trust you. Thank you very much. If anything, if you do have doubts about your own emotional insights, it's really a kind of marker or a sign that you're on the right track if you doubt it a little bit. So try and put doubt to the side by saying, okay, I've meditated on this, I really feel it to be true, so I'm gonna lean on the side of trusting myself rather than doubting myself. It really isn't a day where doubt is particularly helpful, because it's unlikely that you do get the wrong end of the stick. So don't waste your time with quibbling with yourself. Is this right? Isn't it right? If you feel it, if it makes sense, then honor it. Okay. So the full moon, it forms certain aspect patterns with other things in the chart. So first of all, there's a square between the full moon at 7 degrees in Scorpio and Saturn at 12 degrees in Aquarius. So the powers that be, the things that are accepted to be right and good and to make sense in society and the world, they will teach you. So it's another way of saying your outside circumstances really cause you to have an emotional response, and that teaches you about yourself. Then the moon forms a trine with Mars at 2 degrees in Cancer. And that's interesting because Mars in Cancer can get a little bit frustrated. Mars in Cancer likes to get things done, it likes to be empowered and to say my way or the highway. And in Cancer it's forced to be considerate and to take care of other people, and that can really get on Mars's nerves. So things that irritate you particularly are going to be the biggest teachers on this day. So if something irritates you, look at why it irritates you, look at what that says about the circumstance, whether it works for you or not, and that's an easy way to sort the stuff that you enjoy and don't enjoy. And why is it that you're getting irritated? Is it that you don't feel like you're good enough, or that you haven't achieved enough? If that's the case, for instance, then you can say, well, I torture myself because I set these huge expectations that I can't achieve, and then I go after myself because I don't meet them, and I don't, you know, I'm not superhuman, and I give myself a hard time for not achieving the impossible. So Mars is at 2 degrees in Cancer. It may also become frustrated with the obligations that are put on it. So if you have to take care of other people, or if you have to take care of yourself and you feel like you shouldn't need that much self-care or love or support, you could even get frustrated with yourself. So it's about having patience, and again, asking, why am I getting so irritated? That can really be the key to understanding something significant about yourself, where you're being too hard on yourself, where you're being unreasonable in terms of your own expectations, and it can really open things up and again free you from behaving that way in future. The moon also forms a sesqui square with Neptune at 22 degrees in Pisces, and that's fab because Neptune is the water planet. In Pisces, it's in the sign that it rules, so it's very happy. It's very much connected with the inner emotional world. 22 is the master number of the builder, so by understanding the inner emotional world, you can build to adapt it, and then also you can use that understanding to make changes in your actual real world experience. The moon then, it trines Mars. Mars forms a trine with Jupiter in Aquarius at 27 degrees. So this is kind of an indirect connection. The moon doesn't connect with Jupiter in itself, but it connects via Mars. Jupiter at 27 degrees in Aquarius means that the spiritual world, the other side, the powers that be, your angels, your guides, your ancestors, they're right there with you, and they want to teach you something today. They want to say, hey, look at your feelings and really take note, because if you understand this today, you can leave it alone, you can let it be. So you don't have to continue with the addiction for another few weeks or months or years. Today is the day where you can really understand it and to escape it, to escape the emotional prison, the spiritual slavery of thinking you have to do something or stay stuck in a situation which really has no power over you in truth. So really ask for help if you're in a situation that you're not happy with in that way. Then say, universe, angels, guides, ancestors, anyone out there who has my best interests at heart and who wants to work with me, I'm willing to accept anyone who loves me. Please help me. Please show me what I need to learn about myself on this day so that I can have a more joyful experience here on planet Earth. And that will be provided for you. That's the good luck of this. And then with the full moon in Scorpio, you actually have the emotional capacity to listen and to pick up on those messages and then to do something about it. And we don't always have that. Sometimes we're distracted, we're busy, we're focused on the physical. And this is amazing. It's the physical, emotional at the center, and then the physical again. So it's like a sandwich. Yeah. And the filling is the emotional understanding. It's influenced by what's going on in the real world, but then you're also able to influence the real world. I think I've said that a few times now. So let's see what else. That is it, I think. So we've got a square with Saturn. Yep. We've got the sesqui square. We've got the trine, and then the trine with the Jupiter and Mars trining each other. Let's see what else is going on, just for reference here. We've got Mercury and Venus, that they form a trine with Pluto in Capricorn at 26 degrees. Pluto is transformation, it's the ruler of Scorpio. 26 is 8, 2 and 6 is 8, that's power and strength, and in Capricorn it's really strength in a real world way. So the emotional adaptability allows you to take action which will really change the landscape of your life in a meaningful way. So you can change the fact that you're a smoker, or you can change the job or your location or the way you feel in your body. Neptune is on the rising, so I mentioned Neptune, but the rising sign is the sign of the zodiac that's sitting on the horizon in the east, 25 degrees in Pisces. Spiritual insights allow you to get creative. So again, if you've got writer's block or if you feel totally uninspired, you're not going to feel uninspired during this full moon in Scorpio. The ideas will just be gushing out of you. We've got Chiron by itself at 10 degrees in Aries. The only way to heal is if you decide to heal. I just walked past Sigmund Freud University. Sigmund Freud isn't going to come up to you and say, hello, do you want some counseling? No, it's you understand yourself, And if you want to do something about it, it's up to you to say, hey, I understand this. I'm going to change it. I'm in charge of my own life. It's kind of like it's someone who finds their feet for the first time, and someone who says, hey, actually, I don't need this permission, I don't need all this support, I can do this on my own. I'm a grown-up, I'm very capable. So that's liberating in itself, to understand that you're not as fragile as you think, and that a lot of this stuff that maybe has been plaguing you for a while, you can resolve on your own. It's great to share your feelings and to be creative and to express yourself and all of that, but if you don't have the desire to do that, if you don't feel like you need to make sense of your feelings by sharing them with someone else, you feel like you can do it on your own, then really use those insights and run with them by yourself. You're really going to go a long way. The North Node is at 12 degrees in Gemini. So that communication and understanding opens the door to the future. And I've mentioned Mars in Cancer there, sometimes being a little bit frustrated and getting a little bit overheated and steamy. Yeah, like smoke coming out of the ears. It's like, oh, what now? I was trying to write, thank you very much. What do you need now? What is it you need now? What do you require next? It's that kind of vibe. So, again, learn from that. Why are you impatient? Why don't you feel like you should help? Or why do you feel reluctant to be of service with a particular personal situation? It will teach you a lot. And it's not guilt, like that you're a bad person and that's why you're reluctant. It's maybe that there's an imbalance in the relationship and that maybe you shouldn't help. Or maybe it's, if you do give, it's not appreciated, or it just, you know, it falls on deaf ears, and it doesn't matter if you do support someone. The Mars here is interesting because it's somewhat problematic, and I think it's the problematic, ultimately, that really gives you the most profound insight, so please don't shy away from that. Something feels uncomfortable, don't, like, dismiss it and say, oh, that's nasty, I don't want to feel it. Try and feel it, and none of us, a lot of us, myself included, feeling my feelings hasn't always been my favorite thing, especially negative feelings. The fun stuff, the positive things are fine and easy, but on this day, it's really the crunchy stuff, the stuff that is less than ideal, that really teaches us. Okay, the strongest elements on the day, unsurprisingly, are earth and water. Those are both feminine elements. Water allows you to really tap into that inner world, and then earth allows you to put your stamp on the real world as a result through writing or making changes in your routine. In terms of the modes, it's fixed modes. So what presents itself as not up for debate in your life. So the train you have to get on to get from point A to B, those fixed things that exist in this reality without question, those are the things that are going to teach you too. The things that just, aren't up for discussion and that simply are. You'll get something from those. So simplicity opens up really deep philosophical subjects and vistas within yourself, and you really have this profound opportunity to understand yourself in a way you never have before. Amazing. So the Hermit's got nothing on you today. So the Hermit has to go into the desert for like a month and light his little candle to understand. All you have to do is, I don't know, pluck a flower and smell it, or go for a walk, or paint something, or eat a hamburger. I'm sorry, that's a really... But I'm just trying to make the point that something really banal and seemingly meaningless can have a completely extreme and unexpected emotional response in you. That's great. I didn't realize that was an option. Enlightenment through eating a meal. Love it. Okay. And that's it. The only other thing is the descendant is in Virgo. So what you're looking for becomes really clear because you're able to make sense of it. You're really, you have a great ability to be critical and to analyze things so that they become crystal clear to you, so you can work with them. And I think that's it. Okay. yeah, so that's what I get for you for this full moon in Scorpio on the 27th of April. I hope you have a fabulous time. If you would like a and I do mean that because, I mean, it may not sound like that much fun, but you can have a fabulous time understanding something and then being free of it once and for all. And once you're free, you can go skipping along and just have a great time. Or if you've been blocked, you can really have a fabulous time just getting really creative and being in the flow of all those feelings coming out and really just getting rid of them once and for all. I mean, that feels super cathartic. You can just dump it all on the page or in the music or whatever. And that's like, oh. So I do hope you have a great time. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, tarot and numerology. I combine all three, the way I did the numbers and the astrology here. I combine all three divination systems in my personal readings along with my intuition, and I draw up your birth chart by taking your place of birth, date of birth and time of birth, and then I get a chart just like this one, and it shows me everything about you, what's going to work for you in terms of your career, your life purpose, finance, personal development, communication, and if you have any questions or if you have decisions to make about the future, or if you want to see when the best times are for certain things like investing money or getting married or traveling, and when the astrology supports it and when it doesn't support it so much, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading, gregoryscott.com. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, share the video online. Have an amazing time during this full moon in Scorpio, and I'll speak to you for the daily tarot readings, the weekly horoscopes that I do on this channel, and anything else that I do on this channel. Check out some of my other videos if you're interested. Have a lovely day, and I'll speak to you soon.